Hi, today we're going to be doing a story again from our reading packet. So if you could go and find your reading packet, maybe your adult can help you. And we are going to be working on the story, How the Rhinoceros Got His Skin. If you could have this ready, we're going to talk about a few things first. So to remind you, last time we got together in our reading channel, we talked about character and how characters can be both animals or people that are in our stories. And when we are reading a story or listening to a story, we want to think about these things about our characters. We want to think about what is the character or the characters, what are they saying? What are the characters doing? And how do the characters feel? And I would like you to think about those things today as we read our new story. Our new story today, again, is How the Rhinoceros Got His Skin. Like I did on the last one, I'll be reading this off screen and letting you know when to turn the page at home. You can either read along with me and learn the words, or you can just listen to the story at home, remembering to listen to those things about the characters in our story today. Before we get started, there's some big words that I'd like to go over before we read. And that they're kind of fun words to say. So I hope that you at home will repeat them after I say them. Say the word gobbled. The word gobbled means not that you just eat something normally. So maybe you had your lunch already and you ate your lunch. Maybe you had a sandwich and you ate it carefully and you chewed and then you swallowed and then you took another bite. That's not gobbling. Gobbling is when you get as much food into your body as you can without getting sick or without choking. I mean, gobbling is hum, hum, hum. So take your hands and pretend like you're putting really good food in your face and into your mouth in really, really fast time. So this is gobbling. Nom, 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 nom. Do it with me. Nom, 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 nom. That's gobbled. We're also going to use the word smooth today. So the word smooth means it doesn't have any bumps. It's not rough. It's you can't see any bumps and you can't feel any bumps or any wrinkles in them. So a smooth thing might be, I'm using a computer today. So my computer is nice and smooth. The plastic on it is flat and smooth. Maybe my hair isn't smooth, so that won't work. Let's see. What about this behind me? Is this nice and smooth? Oh, yeah, there aren't any bumps. There's no ridges on this. This is nice and smooth too. Look around you and see if you can find an example of something that's smooth. Now, there are two other words that I really like to say. The first one is rumpled. Try it. Rumpled. The word rumpled, I always think of after I've taken a nap and I look at my shirt and it's got some wrinkles in it and it looks like it's all squished up. That's rumpled. Can you think of sometimes maybe your blanket is rumpled right now? Also, the word wrinkled goes right along with rumpled. When you have something that's rumpled, usually there's wrinkles in it. Now, don't look closely at Mrs. Parmenter's face because that's not the example of wrinkles that we're talking about today. But wrinkles can be folds in skin or in blankets or in clothing. Wrinkles are also in our story today. So let's go ahead and begin How the Rhinoceros Got His Skin. And this is written by Charlie Wilder. This is also another fiction fantasy story that is going to teach a lesson. So be listening for the lesson that the characters in this story might learn. Turn to the first page. One day, a baker made a plum cake. "Oh, I'm so happy," he cried. "It's perfect." But just then, a rhinoceros came along. He was big, and he did whatever he wanted. So he gobbled up the cake and moved on. Do you remember what gobbled meant? Only a few crumbs were left. Turn the page. "You destroyed my perfect cake," the baker shouted after him. "You will pay." Turn the page. The next morning was hot, and the rhinoceros went down to the river. In those days, rhinos had smooth skin with buttons. with buttons? Oh, like these right here, like I have on my shirt today. The rhinos undid his buttons and took off his skin, and then he went swimming. Turn the page. The baker saw the rhinoceros's skin lying on the ground. He laughed. He had an idea. The baker gathered the cake crumbs from the perfect plum cake. He dropped them inside the rhino's smooth skin. Think about what might happen next in our story. Turn the page. When the rhino came out of the river, he put his skin back on. His skin tickled and it itched. Why did it do that? The rhinoceros rolled around. He rubbed up against a tree and his skin got rumpled and wrinkled. But the itching did not stop. Turn the page. Soon his rubbing broke off the buttons. The rhinoceros couldn't take his skin off anymore. From that day on, every rhinoceros has folds in its skin and a bad temper too. And that's the end of our story. Please ask an adult to help you with the questions that are after the story and think about what the character was saying, what the characters were doing, and what the characters and how they felt. Today we only had 2 characters in our story, but if you think hard, I'm guessing that you could think of a connection between the rhinoceros in today's story and the camel in the other day's story. Can you think of a connection that would make those 2 characters similar? The connection I thought of was they both needed to learn a lesson. The camel needed to learn a lesson about helping others and being a team player. The rhinoceros needed to learn a lesson about not taking things that don't belong to him and being, sensitive to other people's feelings. I hope that you enjoyed both of those stories and continue to listen to and read stories with characters in them, thinking about what they say, what they do, and how those characters feel. We'll see you again soon.